Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, where are my comments? I cannot see my, there we go. There's my comments. Lost them for a second. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Lisa. How are you? Would you turn the sound off, please? Oh, there we go. There we go. Good morning, Lisa. Can you hear me? It's so bad. The first few moments, it says we're live, and yet the connection is not there. So it's always a little frustrating. Let's see what we've got here. There. Yep, it's showing we are live. All right. That is good. That is good. I always have to have a second device here so I can see what is actually going on. There we go. There we go. All right. It looks good. Good morning. Hi. We are here this morning with the wonderful ladies from Reindeer Express. We have Sonia. Is it Sonia or Sonia?
Sonia.
Sonia. We have Sonia and Stephanie.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Sonia and Stephanie are here from Reindeer Express. Reindeer Express is a real live, actual reindeer farm. I am just over the moon with excitement about this. A reindeer farm on the outskirts of town from where I live. So they are just down the road from me. So many of the people I talk to are from the ends of the earth. And these guys are just down the road from me. So they are experiencing horrific weather just like we are. We got many inches of snow this morning and it's bitterly cold. It is so cold today. And so these poor ladies have been dealing with this already this morning. Good morning, Miss C's Cottage. Good morning, Denise. Hi. And so what we get to do today is learn about reindeer. Hi, Joy. And we get to learn about reindeer. We get to learn about all that goes into raising reindeer for Santa. Yay, how exciting. And we get to learn about the wonderful products that Sonia and Stephanie create. You see, I've got on my reindeer earrings that come from the antlers. They're so beautiful. And they're really light. They're very lightweight. The earrings and lots of other beautiful things that they create. Good morning, IVB. You're going to love this stuff, Ivy. Wonderful products that they create from the antlers that are shed. So no reindeer are harmed in the creation of these beautiful products. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll tell you what, we are so very lucky to have these ladies with us this morning because, as you can imagine, this is the extreme height of the busy season for these guys. When I first contacted them, they're like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Do you know how busy we are right now?" It took some pulling of teeth to get them here today. So we have to give them extra special props for coming in right now. I had to track them down and really convince them how much you ladies, how much you guys would appreciate them being here. So double thank yous for that. So Ms. Sonia, tell us, how does one decide that they want to raise reindeer?
So that's my husband.
It's always the husband.
It is. He was one of the top producers of the emus when emus were hot, and everywhere. And then when that kind of died off, he decided he wanted reindeer and camels. And so we got our first reindeer out of Oregon. He had a friend there who introduced him to him, and he likes to just see that magic like that reindeer bring. And we had camels, and then he's always raised exotic birds, and the reindeer just kind of took off. And so we've been doing that for 20 plus years. In the lower 48, that means the whole United States except for Alaska, it's just for Santa. We only work for Santa. In Alaska and other countries, they have other purposes for reindeer. Reindeer were first brought into Alaska in the 1800s because the natives were starving. And so a missionary got the reindeer from Siberia and brought them across. And that's how reindeer came into the United States.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So now, how long have you guys been raising reindeer?
Oh, probably close to 25 years.
Wow, a long time. Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you need to have special licenses for that?
Yes. So every state's different. In Washington, we had to have permission from Fish and Game. And then to display reindeer, you have to have a USDA license. And we have to be TB certified. So that means they have to do testing. So our reindeer see the vet all the time. And we have a close relationship with WSU down in Pullman with their veterinary students. And we have a really close relationship with our vet. It used to be Pawnee Veterinary, and now it's VCA Veterinary out in Otis Orchards. So there are lots of strict standards. And for us to go into other states, we have to have a CWD-free herd, which is chronic wasting disease that other deer have.
Oh.
In fact, this last summer, a lot of deer were lost to some of that. And so there's very strict standards. And fencing, we have to have 8-foot fencing around our entire property, which is super expensive.
Yeah, I bet. Okay. And then Otis, so you're in the county then. So then, and I suppose then you have to have special permits from the county too, because that's not your typical kind of animals as well.
Well, they're considered domestic.
Oh, are they?
So yes, they every state's a little different, but they have been domesticated before cats.
Wow.
Or horses. There's two theories. One's horses and one's cats.
Interesting.
So people think that I argue quite a bit with people that think that they're caribou, but it's just like with dogs. You have wolves who have that wild instinct. And then as domestication occurred across thousands of years, it changed their DNA. And it's the same with caribou and reindeer. The domestication over thousands of years changed reindeer's DNA. So there's like a little glitch. So reindeer are shorter and stockier. Caribou are tall and thin. When they get scared, caribou fan out, and reindeer always stay together.
Oh.
And then caribou, you would never quite get that wild instinct out. And reindeer are like giant dogs. So when we're working with them and everything, we've got some of them that are just like in your personal space all the time and digging in your pockets and looking for cookies. Yeah. We have one reindeer who is particular about his cookies, and he would prefer Mother's brand frosted animal cookies, and he only likes the pink ones. So my husband eats the white ones.
Well, I agree with him. I like the pink ones best.
Yes, that's Humphrey.
That's funny. That is so funny. Oh my gosh, I just have a million questions about the reindeer. That is so funny. So then how many good morning, Batman. Thank you for joining us and learning all about reindeer. Hi, Darla, I'm glad you were able to make it. How large is your herd? Is it a herd? It's a herd?
Yes, okay. We were at 45 last year, and we started making retirement plans. And so my husband sold to other reindeer farmers. So we're down to 25. And now we're reassessing that maybe retirement isn't what we want. So now the kids are involved. So Stephanie and her husband are involved.
So 25, but maybe it's going to grow again.
Yeah.
Got to keep the magic going.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then what's your ratio of male to female?
We typically keep about 6 bulls. The bull's lifespan in captivity is like 4 to 6 years. Out in the wild, it's shorter than that, because when they go into so when they go into rut, which is the breeding season, they lose a lot of weight because they stop eating. All they're thinking about is their harem. They've got nothing else on their mind, and so they're crazy for 2 or 3 months. And then when they come back out of that rut, which was a very stressful time on their heart, on their body, then they start putting weight back on. And so that's what creates a lot of health issues for them. So but we've never eaten our reindeer. We don't kill our reindeer. We have a geriatric unit. So when they become old and arthritic, then they move into the geriatric unit. They no longer go on displays. They get supplements. Reindeer out on the tundra, the females will live about 6 to 8 years. In captivity, we've had them as old as 19 and 20.
Wow.
And all reindeer are farmed to some capacity. There's no such thing as wild reindeer. So when you see them like in Scandinavia running wild, the Samis are farming them. So the Samis live amongst them, and they're starting to lose their territory. And so there's a whole conservation effort there, because the Samis are losing their way of life and space to have their reindeer. And so we want to help support that.
That is really interesting. I had no idea their lifespan was that short. In my mind, it was like 20 years that they would live. Wow, that is fascinating.
They have a lot of predators out on the tundra. Wolves, bears.
I guess so.
Harsh conditions, lack of food. Our reindeer, they get fed every day.
Yeah.
They go to the vet all the time. They're immunized. They have a pretty cush life.
Yeah.
I want to be a reindeer.
and you're Santa Claus to them.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So then let's talk about the babies. How often do they have babies, and how many?
We have the female, which is called a cow, will have a baby every year, knock on wood. And I think their gestation is like, I probably got this wrong. It's like 263 days. And what is strange about reindeer is that it's 263 days unless they get bred late, and then it shortens. It's really strange. And so we want babies to be born between March and May, but sometimes we've had, like very rarely, we've had them born in June or July, and they're smaller. Sometimes they don't make it, which is, just the reality of it. The babies grow antlers within 30 days. So within 30 days, they have little tiny nubs starting to grow. And then both male and female grow antlers, and it's like a loose tooth. So when the new antler's coming in, it pushes off the old antler. And what I just learned yesterday, because I don't really go shed hunting for real, like regular deer antler. Regular deer antler, the scoop is out on the ends, and reindeer, the scoop it's concave. So the antler goes like this instead of like this when it's being pushed off. So then when they lose their antlers, then we go pick up the sheds and start crafting.
Okay. And then, so you said they start growing their antlers within 30 days of being born?
Yes.
And
so
little baby antlers. Oh, so cute. So you said you had some pictures, some baby pictures for us, some reindeer pictures?
I don't, I'm computer illiterate, so I don't know how to pull them up. How would I pull them up on here? Like, I don't have like pictures. Everything's on our website and on our Facebook page. So
Oh,
we have,
okay. So you've got a Facebook page. So what?
yes, we have Facebook, Reindeer Express LLC, and we have Instagram, Reindeer Express LLC. And our website is www.reindeerexpress.org.
So all the Reindeer Express.
Yes, and reindeer is REIN, not RAIN.
REINDEEREXPRESS. So
.org.
if you do any of the Reindeer Express,
Yes.
reindeerexpress.org, you'll find all of the cute reindeer stuff.
Yes. And so during the winter, which is our crazy busy time, the reindeer only work about 6 weeks, and they don't even work that full 6 weeks. We had 6 teams go out this year. And so, some might work 2 or 3 days, and another team might work the whole 6 weeks, but they get days off during that time. And so we do Idaho, Montana, and Washington is our region. And then that's where the children and the adults can learn about reindeer and pet them and feed them raisins and see the magic.
And then when you say work, what kind of things are they doing?
So we have them in an enclosure because with insurance and liability, we used to walk them around and we used to do photos with the reindeer right next to them. Now we have to have them in an enclosure. So we put up cattle panels and straw on the ground and feed and water, and the handler's either inside or outside the pen and helps the reindeer come along the enclosure so that people can pet them and answer questions and see the magic.
It's really exciting to see like the little kids come up to the pen and they're like, "Oh my gosh, they're real!"
I know a lot of people don't think they're a real thing, do they?
Yes.
Yeah, it's quite amazing.
My most magical moment was a group in Chelan were trying to come up with a Christmas idea, and the man said he had these older ladies like in their 80s and said, if you could have whatever fantasy you have, what could you have? And she goes, I would like reindeer. And so they hired us secretly, and we pulled into her backyard, and they had Mrs. Claus all dressed in red, and we brought the reindeer out, and this lady came out and she started crying because she didn't know they were real.
Oh, funny.
And that was I'm crying. Mrs. Santa's crying. And so to see that magic, especially with our older people, a lot of them grew up with the storybook and never realized that reindeer are real.
Yes, Melanie. Several years ago, we hired you guys for a Christmas party. I think I told Stephanie this. We hired you guys for a Christmas party we were at a hotel out near the airport.
Oh, okay.
And you had your little pin set up outside, and we got to come out and we got to pet them and feed them, and everybody was taking pictures, and we had a big sliding door. And of course, towards the end of the evening, we thought it would be a wonderful idea to bring one of the reindeers inside the conference room. And I don't know how we convinced you, but we did. So we quick hurry brought one of the and I'll tell you what, they look a lot bigger when it's inside of a room than they do when they're outside. So we brought it inside, and we got a group picture of everybody around.
Oh, fun.
This reindeer. It was the coolest thing ever. Let me tell you.
It's amazing how they have those great big antlers and they just work their way through.
They are huge. So I will never, ever forget the giant reindeer picture. It was the best thing ever. So yeah, And I didn't really realize it was you guys until I started talking with you. And then I'm like, oh, I remembered this. I remembered this. So yeah, it was the coolest thing ever. That was my best Christmas party ever. Something that wouldn't get to happen these days. So I really, yeah, things like that. It really make an impact on people. Just the simplest thing. But yeah, even
And that's
even if,
that's what we're about.
Yep, even if we couldn't have snuck him in to the building, it was still the coolest thing ever to have actual live reindeer at our Christmas party. So yeah, we're very, very lucky and blessed to have you guys right here local in the area. If you ever get, and I know I've seen you at you were at one of the florists one time, and you got to go up there and see them and take pictures with them and things like that. And it's just magical. And it doesn't matter how old you are, like you said, it's just magical to be able to go do that. And we were talking before the show, there's a big beautiful resort just down the road from us, 30, 40 miles away from
Coeur
us.
d'Alene Resort.
Coeur d'Alene Resort. And they've got some events up there. And it is so cold up there. What are we supposed to get? 20 below here in a couple of days? It's so cold here that they had to cancel the event. Now the reindeer are perfectly happy with the weather.
They can go 80 below.
That are whining.
Yes.
So
And we will be at Coeur d'Alene Resort he'll be there tonight from 4 to 7. We're not going to be there Wednesday and Thursday, but we will be there Friday, and that will be our last night from 4 to 7.
Yeah, because you got to get up to the North Pole and get going.
And one of them was trying to fly out of the pin yesterday, so one of the little kids was super excited because the reindeer kept trying to practice in the pin.
Yeah, get taken off there. Now you said they're fine. They like it till 60 below.
80 below.
80 below. They're perfectly happy to 80 below.
There's 3,000. They have different layers of fur and hair. So the bottom is like a down. And then they have guard hairs that are like they have air inside of them. So they act like an insulator. And there's about 3,000 hairs per square inch, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
And then that hair helps them float in water. It's underneath is super, super soft, and like you can't bathe a reindeer because you can't ever get them dry because that down is so thick. And then the guard hairs on top are a little rough. So they don't feel like super soft like you would think. It's kind of scratchy.
Okay.
And each hair has air inside of it, so that they're nice and toasty while we're freezing to death. And when you spin their hair, you can't, if you're making gloves or hats or socks, you can't use pure reindeer hair because the warmth factor is so hot that it would be too warm to use as a product. So they have to blend it with something else.
You read my mind. I was just wondering about yarn. Is that a byproduct from your guys's reindeer?
We're going to start that this year.
Oh, pick me. Oh,
I have some ideas in the works.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. Don't forget about me.
I won't.
Okay.
And we're going to start making we have some surprises coming this next year of some collector items of like reindeer people. So we've got a couple of really cool stuff in the works for this next year.
Oh,
we're excited. Yeah, we're trying to expand our crafting department.
Good. Oh, we got a lot of excited people. Everybody just went, ooh. We had a lot of people in the background going, oh.
Pick me.
Yeah. Well, I recently was in Alaska and was introduced to some yarn made from things that we don't typically think about, like dog and musk ox. And what was that white,
Yeah.
that beautiful yarn they wouldn't even let me touch? Oh, literally, it was behind a glass case,
Oh, wow.
$400 a skein, and the skein was like this big, and
Miniature speed.
it was they like, it's like, you're looky Lou, you don't even get to touch it. No.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm just curious. What would you be thinking of mixing it with, since it's not something you could do on its own?
Some of the knitters that I've talked to say to mix it with like alpaca, or even sheep. So
yeah,
we're still exploring those ideas.
Okay.
On because of the guard hairs, there's going to be quite an extensive process, from my understanding, with all you spinners out there that know this process. I'm just now learning it.
I wish Spring were in here. She would have a lot of knowledge on this. So Deanna, alpaca might be an option for you, and Amber, the sheep, would be an option for you. Amber is allergic to alpaca, and Deanna is allergic to wool.
And even camel hair is one of my thoughts too.
Camel, camel. There you go. Camel's a really good option there. I don't know. Alpaca is hypoallergenic, but of course, Amber being Amber, she's allergic to alpaca. So you guys, how does camel affect you guys? Those of you who have allergies to everything.
We have a friend who's allergic to camels. So
okay, that's interesting. That is interesting. Wow, that is so cool. Yeah. Okay, so something else that came to my mind. And this is just so sad to think about, but your reindeers who have died a natural death after living a long and fruitful, lovely life. Do you then have do you make blankets from their hides, or do you have furs and hides? And because you see the deer skin rugs and things.
No?
That's not.
I guess it would kind of like be doing that to my dog.
I know. That's even
so. Yeah. So I could buy one from Alaska, or some other country, and I would be fine with it. But
incredibly warm.
Yes, they are. Wow. And like the Samis use them, they use the entire animal. So there's no waste. They have their tents from the leather. They use the hides for their clothing, the meat, the bones for all kinds of things. So that's a different lifestyle. I guess we're kind of spoiled here, and tend to treat our animals a lot different than other countries, and we especially, they're kind of family, and
right. I understand.
And so when we lose one, there's a lot of loss there.
Yes. No, I understand completely.
Yeah,
I understand completely. There's a fine line between being a farmer and having an animal through its entire lifespan.
Yes.
And you guys are kind of a little different from
we're
raising
ranchers.
Cattle. You're not raising cattle as a meat product.
Right.
You guys, so it's different. It's more like you're raising horses.
Exactly.
And they're treated more like, you know what I mean? In that kind of a realm.
Yeah, except some of ours end up in the house for a while.
Right.
So.
That's what I heard. Tell us about your house raised.
So we absolutely hate to bottle feed reindeer because it kind of stunts their growth. It's not the best for them. Mother raised is best. But every now and then we get one where either the mom doesn't produce milk or doesn't produce enough milk, or the mom passes during childbirth. And so we've had a few end up in the house, and they're in here for about 3 months, and they're not like cows. So cows you can feed twice a day. when they're babies. That's their nature. Reindeer have to be fed every 2 hours.
Oh, like kittens.
Yes, for like 2 months. And then we start the weaning process into month 3. And then they're weaned about 3 to 4 months. And so it becomes worse than a puppy because they honk. They have a very loud honk. And so when they're in the house and they're hungry or they're lonely or they're bored, the honking starts. And that honking can be at 2 o'clock in the morning. So
like our husbands.
yeah, yes.
When they're hungry and bored.
Yes. And then they also, so then as they grow, they're so bonded to us because we are their parent and they're a herd animal. So we become their herd. And that's Humphrey and Victor. And we used to have Nick and Cindy. They become kind of obnoxious because they're constantly in your personal space. And so, you're getting snotted on and, they're digging in your pockets. They're accidentally hooking you with their antlers because they know you've got snacks on you. And so.
Oh, that's funny. And how big are they? So how much do they weigh when they're born?
A small reindeer would be 8 pounds, which is not what we like. We like them between 12 and 16.
Okay.
We average about 10 to 12 because our reindeer are kind of on the smaller side.
Okay.
And then the adults, the bulls will be 250, 275 pounds. The females are around the 200 mark. And And you can't tell like when the females are pregnant because ours are kind of well fed, so they're kind of chubby, like the rest of us. And so you can't really tell until it's almost time for them to calve. And that's, I think, more of a security, like just that still that part of nature that protects them. And when they give birth, they go off from the herd, which is still that nature protecting the herd. And so they go off, they have their baby, and we go out in nature. They would like out on the tundra where they farm reindeer, they just let nature take its course, whether they live or die, or there's no intervention. Ours are kind of pampered, and so within an hour we let the mom bond with it. We get out there, we bring both mom and baby into a shelter, we dip their navels so that they don't get infection, we give them their immunizations, and we make sure, like my husband's in there making sure that the calf is sucking on the mom and getting nutrition. And then he weighs them every day to make sure that they're gaining weight. And if they're not gaining weight, they go to the vet, and we find out why. Sometimes we have to intervene with plasma infusion. So we have reindeers that are donors. They donate plasma, and it gets sent to whoever does the centrifuge. And then we give that baby plasma to make sure that they get those antibodies that they need to be healthy and survive.
Okay. And how much should they gain every day?
They should gain, I think it's like a half a pound to a pound a day.
Okay.
I could be a little off. That's my husband's department.
Yeah. That is just something. Poor Stephanie. She's like, la, 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 la. We'll get to your stuff. We'll get to your stuff. Stephanie does all the cool arts and crafty stuff, which I thought was going to be what our focus would be, but I'm just fascinated with it. I am just fascinated. Okay. So, wow. So how long the idea of having baby reindeer tromping around through my house actually sounds pretty cool, I got to admit. But then I have monster dogs in my house. My puppy is about 150 pounds. So,
So 150-pound dog with puppy pads everywhere because you can't potty train a reindeer.
Oh, I didn't think about potty training a reindeer.
Yes.
I do have a leg up on you there. He's fairly well potty
Yeah.
Actually, he's completely potty trained and has been. He has been since the day we got him. So
Oh,
I
nice.
don't have that going on. Don't you, Max? Yeah. Usually
Yeah.
he's right here with his nose in the camera. He likes to
And the
be
benefit,
involved.
reindeer poo is like pellets, so
Yeah.
that's nice. It's not like cow poo or
Yeah. Got the pellets going on. Wow. What do they eat?
Ours, every farm feeds a little different. Ours are, nutrition is super important to us. And so Purina makes our reindeer feed. They got the recipe. Cougar Mountain Zoo was very kind and gave us their recipe so that we could be getting optimal nutrition.
Wow.
And then they eat alfalfa, but they only eat the leaves of the alfalfa because they're a ruminant. They don't have top teeth, and so they can't chew. They chew their cud. They can't digest long grasses. If they are fed long grasses, it balls up in their stomach and it can kill them. And so we give them the alfalfa. They pick through it. Their lips are super sensitive and they can pick out those leaves. They can find raisins in their feed.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so then they leave the stems. So then the stems, when we used to have camels, then we would feed the stems to the camels because they can eat all that roughage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the Purina pellet that they eat, specifically reindeer food. So, and then they can have snacks. They can have raisins. They're only fed raisins during Christmas time. And then like a month or two just before Christmas, we start giving them raisins. So they get that taste again. They like that. Mm-hmm. Periodically during training months, when we're walking them, they will get a treat for doing what they're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, they
And,
got to learn to fly.
Yeah, but we have we're careful.
On the rooftops and
they need that extra
calories with all the cookies and all that.
Yes, we have a reindeer training camp, and so they go through that. And we used to have the kids come out. There was a couple of years where we had kids come out and go through a reindeer training camp, and it was fun.
I know. I accidentally got signed up for that. I thought it was the adult training and it was the kids camp, and I had to cancel. I was so sad. I met Miss Sonia. We have a mutual friend, and that's how I connected with Reindeer Express. And so my friend signed us up for this kids training camp, thinking it was tea. And we thought we were going to have tea and see the reindeer. And we were both so excited. And we found out it was the kids camp, and we were very sad, and we had to cancel. And so I didn't get to go see the reindeer. And it was, you guys know I traveled full time. I was still on the road, and it was happening during the weekend I was home, and it was like, ah, and so didn't get to come see the reindeer. So we're gonna have to maybe during the off season, my friend can pull some strings with Miss Sonia, and I'll get to come out and meet the reindeer during off season when you guys aren't quite so busy.
That would be fun.
And maybe we can transition over to Miss Stephanie and talk about what the products are, the byproducts of the reindeers, because you have the reindeers and they do shed their antlers. Now, if I have my facts correct, they shed their antlers every year. Is that correct?
Yes, and male and female reindeer have antlers, so they both shed. Like Mom talked about earlier, when they, unlike deer, so deer will lose their antlers and they aren't actually growing a new set at that point in time. So they go all spring without antlers, whereas reindeer, they're constantly growing. So that the difference between the sheds is that there's constant growth. So that's why it has that concave type of base to the structure. And so once those antlers shed, my dad goes out and he collects all of those for us. So thankfully we don't have to go run around and go shed hunting. Somebody does it for us. And so he'll bring us the sheds, and then we repurpose them and make different products out of them. Sonia started the business, and it's been almost 15 years ago or so, with making antler ornaments out of them. And so she took the antlers and we sliced them. That was quite a lengthy process trying to figure out, all right, and how can we do this efficiently so that it isn't like a substantial amount of work to sand everything down. Cutting antler is a very smelly process.
Really?
Yes, because you're essentially cutting a bone in a sense, and so there's a very peculiar smell that goes along with that. My kids often, they'll come in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you smell horrible."
It stinks.
Yeah. Yeah. So she would take those antlers and then cut them down, and then we would make ornaments out of them. And what's unique about them is that everything.
Let me change the screen for a second and make you big. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Solo there.
So everything's a little unique in itself. There's all kinds of different shapes. And so they're hand sanded, hand painted. So everything has a little bit of character all on its own. And so sometimes it can be a little hard choosing which one you want.
It is. I can attest to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And Robbin had came into our booth at the craft fair, and she purchased several buttons because we also make buttons for the sewers, because my mom is also a sewer and has quite the crafty side to her as well. And so Robbin had came in to our booth at the craft fair, and she purchased almost all of our buttons.
Yeah. What Robbin did. Okay.
She got really excited.
What Robbin did. So first I contacted Sonia to try to be a guest on the show. And she's like, I don't know who this lady is. I am busy. Just look, lady, it's Christmas time.
I'm busy.
How busy we are. She's like, yeah, we'll be at the fair if you want to come see my buttons. I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the fair and I'll talk to her. So I get to the fair and Stephanie is there. And I'm like, hi, I'm Robbin with Roaming with Rover. And she's like, what do you want? Buy something. Go away. No, she was very, very kind. She was very kind.
She's the nice one.
It's the last day of the fair. I just want to go home. You guys know how it is. Those of you who do craft fairs, you know how it is. And so I'm talking to her and I'm explaining, and she's very, very kind. And she's actually interested. And then I see the buttons and I'm like, this is what I came for. You and the buttons. And I'm looking at the buttons and I'm looking at the buttons and I'm trying to pick out, and I'm like, just give me all the buttons. And so I bought all the buttons. I bought all the buttons. And just give me all the buttons. So let me show you the beautiful buttons I'm going to make. Now I'm going to make me big. How do I do this? Solo layout. So the buttons, where's my camera? The buttons are beautiful. Aren't they beautiful? They are beautiful. And of course, each one is a little bit different. And it's a good day. It's a good thing it was day 3, because I'm sure there were many, many, many more buttons at the beginning. And I would have owned all the buttons. Because you guys remember a couple of weeks ago when I had Lady Bird on my show, and she was making that beautiful shawl. And that beautiful shawl had, let's see, how do I get back to where I was? Oh, look, we're different.
Oh.
That beautiful shawl had, nope, I don't like this as well. There, that beautiful shawl had all the buttons down the side. That's what I had in mind when I was picking up all these beautiful buttons. And then of course, when I saw the beautiful buttons, I also, let's go back to big. There, they also had these beautiful earrings. So pretty. I love the beautiful earrings. And here's some more of the beautiful earrings. And they put them on the pretty cards. And bonus, they put the little stoppers on. I hate it when you buy the bear earrings and they don't have the stoppers on them. That's a pet peeve of mine. And they also, I only knew about, I know I love the reindeer earrings. I only knew about the buttons. That's all I knew about. And I've been trying to get the buttons. And my friend was like, you have to pick the buttons out yourself because each one is so beautiful and you can't just say, send me some buttons. No, you got to pick them out because they're so pretty and each one is so different. And you have to think about the project that you're making.
Yes.
And she was right. I would not have been disappointed in any of them, but they really are so beautiful. And if you only needed one, then a nice one of the bigger ones. But if you're making something with 3 or 4 buttons, then some of the smaller ones. So yeah, absolutely. They're just gorgeous. They're just gorgeous. I can't even tell you how beautiful they are. So look at this. And they've got, the color. And to me, that looks like a bear. That looks like in my brain, that's a polar bear. Well, see, I collect polar bears. So how beautiful is that right there on a cowl? Oh.
And they are sealed in beeswax so like our ornaments and stuff are sealed with Varathane to keep moisture out, but the buttons are sealed with beeswax so that they don't absorb any moisture. You still wouldn't want to wash them, but it protects
so anything that you put on, you're going to hand wash that item, right?
Yeah, and avoid getting the antler wet.
Yeah. So you guys wanted to see the earrings again. Let me show you the ones.
Yeah, the antler's really unique in itself versus like deer antler. Just because
there you can see that little bit of shine on it. There. And they're not, you can see they're not huge. They're big enough that you can see them. And I've got a lot of hair. And you can still see them very, very clearly. But they're not so big that they're gaudy. They're very pretty. They're very different. Each one is a little different. You're never going to see 2 the same. The beading is different. Mine, of course, are purple because, purple is my world. And okay, how do you get these? Right? We need these in our life. I'm showing you the buttons because somebody bought all the buttons.
Yes.
I did. I just give them all to me.
And we are in the process of making more. It's cold outside, so we're working through that.
Cold outside.
But yeah, we have a lot of our products posted on our website. And you can always shoot us a message if there's something that you don't see that you've seen today. Because there are some specific items that we don't post on our website just because they're so unique of their own that it's really hard to hone in on trying to post a description of that item and then having that continue forward the same as we sell those products because nothing is the same. It's almost like a fingerprint. And so that's what makes our products very unique from like deer antler crafters and such. Over the Christmas time, we did go through and we also made garlands out of them. So we took our our
Oh,
little
here,
antlers, and then
make you big
made.
again. Nope, not me. You don't want to look at me. Ah! How do I get out of this? No. Solo. There.
Yeah, so we went through and made garlands. They're around 40 or so inches long. So that was a fun addition to our product line that we put together for this winter. We also did tic-tac-toe boards with them. So there's little faced and unfaced pieces. And so we have little tic-tac-toe boards. Those are always fun. Unique.
Stephanie, let me interrupt you real quick. What's your website? I'll type it up here real quick.
ReindeerExpress.org.
R, and it's EIN?
Yes.
Yes.
Rain, DEEREXPRESS.org. Okay, there, I think I did it. Okay, go ahead and show us some more of your pretty stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, those are some of our smaller items. We also do wreaths out of them.
Look at that.
So we go through and we make, and obviously right now Christmas is the season, and so that's the style that we went with for the winter. We do have other variations of just routine all year round decor that we do as well, and so those will come out in the spring. And then we also take like sheds. So this is like a kind of like a swag that you would hang on the wall. And there's beyond that, we do signs out of it. I've made door signs that say "Believe" down them. I don't have one of those available right now for the show, but they're always unique, and we try to incorporate the antler into all of our products, and just to bring that uniqueness out in each piece.
Wow. That's so. Then, so I think I heard you say you have some items that are not necessarily Christmas, that can be kept up all year round. So, like somebody who maybe decorates their house in Western style.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like Mom mentioned earlier, we're working to expand our line and kind of bring into more of that routine decor throughout the year, not necessarily specific to Christmas. This last spring, we had a lot of wreaths that we put together and everything. It's just kind of, it kind of comes up as whatever strikes me one day, and then I just go wild with it.
She does.
How big is a full-size shed antler?
They're about, the females are about 2.5 feet.
Wow.
They're pretty large. And so within our house, we obviously, as you can see, we have a lot of antlers. And so that was part of why I kind of stepped in and talked to Mom about expanding the line and repurposing into other things, just because my husband is he's a hunter. He's an avid hunter. And so we have sheds throughout our house, and it's trying to just incorporate some of my style into all of this as well.
No, I don't, if you want to put it on me, if this will show up.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Now, okay,
and the bull antlers would probably be closer to 3.5 feet. They're really big.
Wow. So do you sell, I noticed that you've got, and I don't know the right terminology, forgive me. I'm a city girl. I've got two questions coming to my head. What you've got on the wall there, the rack and the skull, would you sell that? Would you sell one of those?
No, that's actually an elk.
That is an elk. Okay. See, I told you.
Yeah. And so with the reindeer, we don't do head mounts or anything.
Oh, that's what that's called. Okay.
Even with the ones that, I mean, because they're like we mentioned earlier, there's a geriatric unit, so they stay on the farm they live out their life. And
well, that's
but
what I wondered when I
we
saw
don't
that.
do
After, I'm
anything like that.
That surprises me. Okay, so then the other question is, do you count the size of them with points like we do with the deer and the elk and the other things?
I don't know how they would count them actually, because I've never, I guess reindeer aren't in the hunting world down in the lower
Yeah.
48. So I'm not sure how they would count them when they're looking at sheds.
We don't see how, we don't count them how big they are. Like,
Yeah. Well, and even within the lower 48, when you go to different areas of the country, they have a tendency to count them differently. So,
yeah, that's why I was
so
wondering.
like Washington is one way versus like
the East Coast, they count both sides, and in here, and they do that in Texas too. They count on both sides, and on ours, we count one side.
Yeah.
So as I've been traveling, we've learned that. But it's because they're smaller over there, so they got to do something to make them sound bigger.
You got to compensate for that.
Yeah, that's exactly how that happens. That's so funny. Also, you guys, just so you know, I gotta get this back on. Just so you know, they also sell, correct me if I'm wrong, dog chews, right?
We do. They have to be requested though, because we don't do them on a routine basis.
Oh, I thought that was something that you did.
We were looking into that market, and we did them for a little while, but there's a lot of competition in that market with the deer and elk antler guys, and so when we were looking at expanding our craft business and everything with the antler, it was more trying to separate us from all of those deer and elk individuals. That way we were unique all on our own, because nobody does what we do. And so we tend to shift more towards the decor side.
Well, and I think this is a much better use of it. Absolutely. Absolutely. I thought maybe it was like scraps or something.
Yeah, and we do have those, so that's why, like, we will sell them, but it's more on a request type basis.
Okay. So you guys, your products are in flux.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, cool. Absolutely. Okay, so in the description box below, I will have listed your website, all the ways of getting a hold of you. If you are looking something, thank you, Deanna. This is what I was just going to say. They're super swamped right now. When you're looking for stuff, if it's not there, drop them a line, drop them an email. Yes. They're responsive to you. Just not to the crazy lady that's trying to talk to them when they're slammed busy and isn't actually asking them a question. Oh, that's an interesting, very good question, Doris. Doris wants to know if you do like knife handles and things like that for men's gifts.
We haven't done knife handles, and that's kind of a specialty type deal, because there's specific tools that you need for creating those handles and such. So we haven't gotten into that, but we do bottle openers and wine openers.
Oh, what about a wine stopper?
I haven't done any of those yet, but that has been kind of on the table as one of the items that we've thought about pursuing.
And one of the best ways to get a hold of us, you can email us through the website, but a better way, if you're on Facebook, go to our Facebook page, Reindeer Express LLC, and that's a great way to get an instant response from us.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, and we do have more earrings available. I'm not sure if those are specifically on the website, but there's various types there. We do, in addition to the ones that Robbin is wearing, we also do faced ones. I can put jewels on them, which are glass beads, or just plain, just the antler piece itself. And so there's different variations. And so depending on what color you're looking for, we can certainly customize those pieces as well.
And then what is yeah, you want to show those ones again? They're so cute. Those are so cute. I don't know why.
Like, which way do I move?
I know it's so hard. They had those,
and all the beads are glass.
Yes.
So they're not the cheap plastic ones.
No.
When I saw you guys at the craft fair, I saw those. I wasn't as drawn to them as I was these, but now that I see those, I really, really, really like them. I wish I had bought those. Can you give me some pricing? Because I don't remember how much I paid for any of this. I just knew I needed them all.
The buttons themselves are $8 a piece, and we have the earrings. And there's either the plain or the faced, and if they don't have glass beads on them, they're $15 a piece, and the ones with glass beads are $20. And so we try to keep our costs at a reasonable level. The garlands that we did for Christmas time, those are $28. Game boards are $35. And the antler decor pieces that we put together, those are kind of at various prices depending on the size of the antler, and so it can range anywhere from like $45 to $65 depending on how big of a piece we're looking at. And the grapevine wreaths that we do, those are $30.
Yeah, they are absolutely beautiful. They're beautifully made. They're beautifully presented. Just gorgeous, gorgeous product. And as you were saying, as we learned about the raising of the animals, there is a lot that goes into them. And you guys know, anybody that has a house animal knows how expensive it is to provide quality pet food, vet care, all of that stuff. And imagine doing that with 25 ginormous animals that you are. How big is the area that they roam around in? We
have 30 acres. And so the good thing with reindeer is they're lazy. And so even on the farm, I mean, even out on the tundra, they would tend to just kind of browse and rest. They do a lot of resting. And so we go out every morning. They get their feed from Purina, and then they get the alfalfa. And so they just kind of nibble and rest throughout the day.
Eat and sleep like the rest of us, the rest of us fluffies all winter long. Yes.
Caribou tend to keep migrating.
Oh, yeah?
And reindeer don't migrate the way that caribou do. Okay. And so they're perfectly content here. Nice. They just lounge around.
How do they handle the heat? Because we hit the hundreds in the summertime.
Yeah. So when we have those few weeks where it's super, super hot, we put sprinklers out, and sprinklers are going all day to keep them cool. We have areas where they can go into buildings. They have shade coming off of the buildings. We set up plywood so that it provides shade. So they shed, like
I was just
in the summer. They look like they've got mange. They got like spots all over them, and they look really gross. But they're just shedding off that winter coat, and that's where we get the reindeer hair.
That's what I was just going to say. I was going to say, you're not going to be able to brush them and get hair for your yarn.
We can brush them, but it's easier to just kind of like take your fingers and pull.
Yeah. Interesting. And they're that docile that you can do that?
Most of them are. We have a couple that are like they can go out on displays, but they're not like, it's like they know when they're on the farm, and they can be trying to find what's the nice word? They're not friendly.
Mhm.
They
Ornery.
kinda
each have their own personality.
Yeah, I bet
very
they do.
much.
I
Mhm.
bet they do. You know,
Yeah.
it's like any other critter. Some of them are
Mhm.
very, very friendly and
Yes.
want to be loved on. And I mean, you know, even dogs and cats, some
Yes.
of them are like
Mhm.
this little guy. He's right. I have these pom poms, which thank you, Dana. I have these pom poms that we use for things. And when I've got him set out, he thinks it's his bed and he lays right in the middle of them. But both of our dogs are very lovey-dovey, but there's other, you know, my daughter's dog, you don't pet him, he doesn't sit in your lap. He allows you to feed him and that's it.
Yeah.
Stay away from me, don't leave me alone, you know, and
We've got some of those.
yeah. But yeah, so they all have their different personalities and things. But and since I mean you're around them since they're brand new babies, so I suppose they are used to being loved and touched and patted and that sort of thing. So then
Yeah.
you rake them to get the fur. I am so excited to learn about this fur. This is going to be so very interesting.
And if you get, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Somebody had a question, but I'm not understanding quite what she's asking. Do they come with authenticity documentation? For what, Melanie? For
I understand what she's saying. So
Okay.
we just started recently making a little card that says genuine reindeer antler
oh, okay.
that can go with the product.
Well, there you go. So then the answer is yes. See, it's good that that the experts are here with us.
And if you buy something and it's got a little green on the edge of the product,
Oh yeah.
that is from, you know, because reindeer like to play games. And so every now and then, you know, that elf on the shelf is not a nice person. And so they like to toss the elf around and his green outfit tends to rub off on their antlers.
Oh, Dana wants to know if they have to be super careful about the quality of the alfalfa that they eat.
We are super picky about our alfalfa. We do second and third cutting. We have finally found a supplier who's consistent. We have in the past had a supplier that, you know, one time it would be great. The next time the leaves were falling off because it was too dry. So it was too stemmy. We have to be really careful that they're not having weeds in it because certain weeds like lupine can cause horses and reindeer, probably other animals, to abort. So we're super picky. So we pay a premium for our alfalfa.
Yeah, I bet you got to be so careful with that. I did want to mention that there is a big craft show in the spring here. I don't know that anybody that's in the chat now is anywhere near this area, but some people that watch the replay may be. In the springtime, it's usually in the Easterish time frame. It's called the Spring Custer, the Custer Spring. Say the name of it. I'm going to butcher it.
It's the Custer Show, and it's
Just
the
Custer?
spring. Yeah, it's Jim Custer's craft show by Jim Custer Enterprises. It's the arts and crafts show, and it will be, I'm looking at it right now. Of course, they're not. Let me see what I can. This year, yes, this year it will be March 3rd through the 5th.
Oh, it's earlier this year.
And it's at the Spokane County Fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm. And because it was the Christmas one that I found you guys at.
Yes.
I was so excited. And that's a great show also to go to. Those are the two big craft shows in our area. People come from all over to go to those two craft shows. And so you'll find them and they'll have tons of stuff. Don't wait to the third day like I did.
Might not have those buttons.
That's right. Somebody's going to get there and take all the buttons. But you'll see the big variety of things that they have. available. And maybe some of the, probably won't have some of the brand new items you're thinking of by then, but then you would probably have more non-Christmas themed items, or probably maybe even some Christmas themed things. People like me that like to buy Christmas stuff all year round, is a good time to do that. So then the Christmassy, some of the new things that you have in mind probably be later in the year that you'll be thinking of those.
Yes.
And you'll give us a heads up when some of that stuff might be ready to go. And you're going to be working with local yarn spinners.
Yes.
For that, we've got some amazing yarn artists in our community. So I'm sure you won't have any problem finding somebody to create that for you. But that's going to be an interesting product. I'm real excited to watch that develop and become a thing. Really, really cool. Gosh, wouldn't Spring be just chomping at the bit to play with that? She's a fabulous spinner. That is one of our friends, and she works with all kinds of stuff too, all kinds of different, I don't want to say fabric, different, I don't know what they call it, but it's not hair. What is it?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I know. And I don't spin, so I don't know the terminology. But when somebody in here does, I rely on everybody in here to keep me on the straight and narrow when I'm saying things wrong. But anyway, fiber, that's the word.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa. But we're real excited. We're real excited to see what you come up with that, and also to see the new cool and exciting things that you come up with, Stephanie, as the new products that you've got. Thank you guys so very, very much. Do you guys have any other questions for them? They've got so much work to do. They are so very, very busy, and I just cannot thank them enough for taking some time out of the busy time. And I'm telling you guys, we have got so much new snow this morning. I got a frantic call this morning that Sonia couldn't even get to Stephanie's house. They were gonna be together, and I says, "Oh no, it's not a problem. We can do multiple places." And she says, "It's so cold out there. We can't even get outside to show you the reindeers, and it's freaking cold here." So yeah, and I still get to go out and move the snow about, get it off the driveway and stuff. Mister's like, "You've got to go to snowblow." I've got to ride this morning. So I want to thank you guys again, and hang on a minute when we go off. I want to get that information and get it into the description. So all of the things will be down below, so you can go and find them. And thank you guys very much for joining me this morning. I know you guys are all busy as well as we get this close. Yeah, 22.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We'll see you guys later. Don't forget. Oh, I didn't tell you what we have next week. Next Tuesday, something really, really different. We are going to have, her name is Kelsey, and she is going to show us, she's going to be doing a crochet along, really, really different. It is a murder mystery crochet along, and it is called, what is it called? It's called The Mystery at Rosewood Manor. Super exciting, because that's what I need is one more crochet along, right, Dana? So join us next week, and where we learn all of it. It doesn't start next week. It's just information about the mystery at Rosewood Manor. We'll see you guys at Bingo next Monday. Bye-bye.